Hey range fans, we're back with more 10mm load testing for dayattherange.com. This time with 150 grain Underwood 10mm ammunition. On the range to capture velocity numbers from the 10mm Underwood ammunition fired by the Colt Delta Elite XE Generation 2 and the Smith & Wesson 610 3 7/8" barrel revolver. Underwood 10mm auto, item number 235, 150 grain jacketed hollow point, 1500 feet per second, testing for woods carry self-defense. That is woods carry self-defense in the scenario of having a rifle on you for hunting and a backup pistol for self-defense. I will be utilizing the Smith & Wesson 610 3 7/8" barrel, 10mm across the chronograph, and also for accuracy. This is supposed to get us 1500 feet per second, probably out of a 5-inch barrel. Stay tuned with me because coming up next, we will be going or utilizing the Colt Delta Elite with 5-inch barrel and see how it does. But this is from a Smith & Wesson 610 3 7/8" barrel, 1432, 1391, 1393, 1404, 1381, a high of 1432, and a low of 1387. The average is 1401, with an extreme spread of 45 and a standard deviation of 18, with pretty good accuracy from 10 yards away. Stay tuned. Coming up next, the Colt Delta Elite with 5-inch barrel. Up next, the Colt Delta Elite 5-inch barrel with Underwood ammunition, 150 grain at 1500 feet per second. That's what the box says. Let's see what the chronograph reads from 10 yards away. All right, the Colt Delta Elite seems to be shooting a little bit left, or I am shooting a little bit left today. But let's see what the tail of the tape of the chronograph tells us. 1,422 feet per second, 1,424, 1,443, 1,466, a high of 1,466, a low of 1,422, the average of 1,438, extreme spread of 44, and a standard deviation of 20. Pretty good group, pretty good consistency. As you can see, it's a little bit rainy out today, or cloudy out today, so I did miss one got a chronograph read error on one of the shots. Folks, listen, don't go anywhere, because next we're going to test this Underwood 150 grain ammunition in Clear Ballistics Gelatin. Up next, the Clear Ballistics Gelatin penetration test, what everybody came here for, of the Underwood 150 grain ammunition. You've seen the tail of the tape across the chronograph and the accuracy. Now let's test this self-defense ammo for penetration in Clear Ballistics Gelatin. All right, so the Underwood 150 grain ammo out of the 4-inch or 3 7/8 inch 610 revolver from Smith & Wesson got about 15 inches of penetration. There it is right there, 15 inches of penetration. But I will say this gel was flipped upside down, which means it did stop on the blue barrel, and maybe it would have kept going just a hair further. But we're going to test next with the Colt Delta Elite and see what kind of penetration it gets. This makes it pretty easy to pull this thing out. You see it lost a couple of its petals there. We're going to keep this. We'll measure it for everybody. Tell you how much weight it retained. So stay tuned. Next test with Clear Ballistics Gelatin out of the Colt Delta Elite. Next up, in the Clear Ballistics Gelatin test with the Underwood 150 grain ammunition is the Colt Delta Elite. The Colt Delta Elite achieved about 13.5 inches of penetration on its downward travel. There the bullet rests. We will dig it out, weigh it to see how much weight retention, see how it expanded. But as you can see there, along the wound channel, it left all sorts of debris behind. Take a look at the wound channel and the expansion. You can tell the bullet starts to expand about 1 inch or 1.5 inches in, and it is twisting with the rifling. You can actually see that in the wound channel. Devastating wound channel that it leaves behind, and gets 13.5 inches of penetration. I would say a great self-defense round, whether it is on the trail or in the urban environment. 150 grain Underwood ammunition for self-defense, I definitely would not feel undergunned. All right, folks, we're back from the range, and as you can see, I'm back on the bench again after the Clear Ballistics Gelatin test with the Underwood 150 grain 10mm ammunition fired through a Smith & Wesson 610 with 3 7/8 inch barrel, and also a Colt Delta Elite with a 5-inch barrel. You can see I have the Hornady scale, and from my RCBS weight scale, it is coming in at 50.1 grains. So we're going to take this off. You've seen the velocities across the chronograph, which came out pretty well. This is the 610 bullet out of the 610. Let's see how much weight it retained. Remember, this is 150. I can't get it to stand up well. But as you saw in the ballistics gel, it did leave some petals behind, but the mass of the weight was retained at 106.1 grains out of a 150 grain bullet. That expansion, it opened up really, really well. in my view, didn't over-penetrate, and that's what this round is supposed to do for self-defense, is not over-penetrate. And at 13 inches, wow, that's pretty good. So now let's weigh the bullet that came out of the Colt Delta Elite. The bullet that came out of the Colt Delta Elite is weighing in at 100.4 grains. So it shed quite a bit of weight going through the ballistics gel out of the Colt Delta Elite. Again, I would be totally comfortable carrying this round in an urban like setting for self-defense, not to get over penetration, making sure that you don't harm any bystanders. So let's take the width measurement, going back to the bullet out of the Smith & Wesson 610. Let's get the caliber turned on, get it zeroed out. All right, got the caliper zeroed out there. And we're going to say this is the widest point. See what expansion looks like. 0.545 inches for the Nosler bullet, 150 grain Nosler bullet in the Underwood ammo. Now let's see what the Colt Delta Elite did. This shed quite a bit of weight. You can see there, it really peeled back on itself. Let's see. So here at the widest point, we're going to say 0.638 inches out of the Colt Delta Elite. Again, Underwood Ammo on the box says this is about 1,500 feet per second ammunition. And I will tell you, the results are going to vary depending upon the firearm. Neither here nor there. Any firearm that you're carrying this 10mm ammo in for self-defense proves to not over-penetrate and penetrate just enough to be qualified, in my view, as a very nice self-defense round. Underwood Ammo 150 grain Nosler bullet at 1,500 feet per second as advertised on the box. Hope you enjoyed the results. Hope you enjoyed the video and testing. Leave your comments down below and subscribe so we can do more testing like this. And as you can see here, we might even have some coffee cups to come. Bad shadow. Might even have some coffee cups to come. If you like a coffee cup, hit me up. Mr. Revolver Guy, dayattherange.com.